Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you gotta come in. You gotta come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
So go through the countries again?
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran. So when you look at Iran, you say, is it a replay? It's not exactly a replay, but here's the truth. That Iran from the beginning has seen that the presence of the United States in Iraq was a threat. A blessing, because we took out Saddam Hussein and the Baathists. They couldn't handle him. We took care of it for them. But also a threat because they knew that they were next on the hit list. And so, of course they got engaged. They lost 1 million people during the war with Iraq. And they've got a long and unprotectable, unsecurable border. So it was in their vital interest to be deeply involved inside Iraq. They tolerated our attacks on the Baathists. They were happy we captured Saddam Hussein, but they're building up their own network of influence, and to cement it, they occasionally give some military assistance and training and advice, either directly or indirectly, to both the insurgents and to the militias. And in that sense, it's not exactly parallel, because there has been, I believe, conditions for Iraqis who need medical attention. They stubbornly refuse to talk with Iran about their perception. They don't want to legitimate a government that they've been trying to overthrow. If you were Iran, and I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said,
the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9 and verse 10, it says, "Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rekahakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And salutation to the Akims that's pushing the truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this video will be edifying first and foremost the whole elect, then to those that cleave to the body. And this lesson will be about America is struggling, all right, to take these other nations down. And I started off with let the weak say I am strong, all right, because they recently got a quote-unquote victory over Venezuela, which we believe all this is staged. All right, you got the kidnapping of the president. All right, he got a fucking Nike tech suit on, man. All right, he got his wife, the vice president, fled into Russia. All right, it's all political theater, right? When you look at a lot of this damn man getting kidnapped, and as he getting kidnapped, he's telling everybody Happy New Year's. That's neither here nor there. The Maduro dude, all right, there's a bunch of threats and a lot of political theater going on. Okay, and we know how to pretty much sort out what's what, according to biblical prophecy. All right, we're not taken by the shenanigans of this devil. All right, the deception, the illusion of things. Okay, this is another distraction. All right, to accomplish the ultimate goal, which is to set the enterprise up. All right, the Mexicans and drug cartels, and it's all, it is way bigger things going on in the earth than drugs, man. But that's neither here nor there. We're just dealing with America has become weak, all right, concerning these nations, man. Okay? Let's get this real quick.
I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see some shit that I gotta share with y'all. You ready? Nate Rothschild, one of the Rothschild family, the Rothschild banking clan, is thanking Donald Trump. He says, "Thank you, well done, Donald J. Trump, Venezuela Libre." The next comment just post a screenshot that says, "Venezuela does not have a Rothschild central bank. The Central Bank of Venezuela, Banco de Central de Venezuela, is a publicly owned institution responsible for the country's monetary policy and currency." And just like that, everything makes sense. All the questions you have been answered. So now, U.S. is going to run Venezuela, as Trump announced. We're going to control their oil, and the Rothschilds get the Venezuelan bank. So the Rothschilds just got another country under their wing, a country they've been trying for years to get under their wing. And so now you know what happens when your country's central bank is not controlled by this family.
Yeah, 7 countries in 5 years. So they say. All right, because the Lord got the king's mind like the rivers of water. He's changing them whatsoever he please. All right. Let's look at this again.
So now you know what happens. So the Rothschilds just got another country under their wing, a country they've been trying for years to get under their wing. And so now you know what happens when your country's central bank is not controlled by this family. Responsible for the country's monetary policy and currency. Rothschild Central Bank. The Central Bank of Venezuela, Banco de Central de Venezuela, is a public Trump, Venezuela Libre. The next comment just post a screenshot that says, Nate Rothschild, one of the Rothschild family, post a screenshot that says, "Venezuela does not have a Rothschild central bank and currency." And just like that, everything makes sense. All the questions you have been answered. So now, U.S. is going to run Venezuela, as Trump announced. We're going to control their oil, and the Rothschilds get the Venezuelan bank. So the Rothschilds just got another country under their wing, a country they've been trying for years to get under their wing. And so now you know what happens when your country's central bank is not controlled by this family.
So there you have it. Okay. That can potentially be so. All right, because Iran don't have a central bank in it. Okay, and amongst other things. But like I said, this lesson won't be long. Get a quick precept here. This is Job 12:21. It says, "He poured contempt upon the princes and weakened the strength of the mighty." See, by Russia being a guard, unto these other nations, including Iran, China. All right, America can't just go bombard them. They got to bombard the weak, the weak countries, which again, If they the bully of the earth, pick on somebody your own size. All right? And the Lord is weakening the strength of the mighty, man. This man don't got it like that no more. Okay? These other nations are beefed up. Russia been a god unto them, right? China as well. You know? Now America is very strategic in how he go about these nations. You know, notice when he go in Iran, you know, that's trust me, that'll start the war off. All right? We know this for sure. Okay? You know, we know this for sure. Biblical prophecy say so. Okay? I know they have they got a list where the names are scratched out. But that's, you know, it's neither here nor there. All right? Let me see. Yeah, this is Psalms. Let's get this. Alright, Psalms, I think it's 52 and 7. Check this back real quick. Yep, I'm gonna start at 5. It says, our power shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place. Because they dwelling in the heavens. All right. And root thee out of the land of the living. All right. Because he the harbinger of death. This the man of death. It's a lie. The righteous shall also shall see and fear and shall laugh at him. Lo, is this the man that made not our power his strength, but trusting in abundance of his riches and strengthen himself in his wickedness? Yeah. See, riches lift up the heart. All right. So this devil, all right, saying that he had the money, all right, but the Lord hadn't given him, you know, they gave him the dew of heaven and the sword, all right. But this devil coveted, all right, that which is not his. He already have more than enough, all right, but he's coveting more than he can have, man. He heaped himself people, nations, right? He covered fields and take away houses, all right? See that? That's the man that made not the Most High his strength, man. You know, but trusted in his own in his own blessing. You know, but this devil done became weak ultimately. Let me get this, I'll get out of here. This is Isaiah 14 and verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Because at one time America was you know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, dropping the hydrogen bomb and this and that. Now these other nations, you know, got warfare. They got weapons of indignation, man. All right, America can't just go run up on China and Iran like that, Russia. You know why? Because they're weak now, and that's what happened until over time when the Lord destroy you, He weaken you. All right, you don't just take a great nation out like that, which that's the way the Lord set it up. But ultimately, what? He's cutting them down, man. He's breaking them down. All right? And as he's breaking them down, America just beginning to be a shit show. All they doing is just talking shit, man. All right? They just talking shit. They overtook Venezuela. Venezuela been a third world country, man. Quote unquote. If they did that shit. You know, the line be lying, man. Right? Everybody playing too. You know? Everybody playing, but the Lord hella serious, man. So, well, I'll tell you this, America, that, you know, hey, hats off to you. And by the way, keep up the bad work, man. All right? That the end of your time's gonna come through you. So keep on, you know, being in other man's house, not keeping it at home, stealing, killing, and destroying, man. That the Lord may do it unto you. So I don't want to write this out of was edifying, man. Next time I say shalom.